Welcome to the Defense and Aerospace Report. I'm Vago Muradian here at the Mitchell Institute's event up on Capitol Hill on air superiority, and we had with us Lieutenant General Dash Jameson, who was the Intelligence, Surveillance, and Reconnaissance Chief of the United States Air Force, and we have here the Ops Boss of the United States Air Force, Lieutenant General Mark Nowland, who is the Ops Boss. Yeah, that's right. Give a shout out. Sir, I want to start off with the threat picture. You know, both of you gave a very, very rich and fulsome picture of the threat picture facing the United States, but you were also very quick to caution that despite Russian and Chinese gains, the United States Air Force still remains superior to any other Air Force. But talk to us about some of the specific capabilities China and Russia are developing that you guys described in much fuller fashion today that give you pause, give you concern, and why you said it's time for the United States Air Force to fundamentally change how it thinks about the game.
Well, if you go back to that slide, just look at the ranges of their missiles. Their missile ranges have continued to increase, and as you saw in that, their missile ranges continue to extend out. So in gaining air supremacy, it's all about characterizing the environment. We have a saying, and Raytheon used to have it called first look, first shoot, first kill, right? So that's something we need to be concerned about as we move forward. They're advancing. We need to continue to advance and meet that. For every advancement we're making in our air-to-air platforms or in our actually gaining and maintaining air supremacy, they're countering us with surface-to-air missiles. So how do we do that? What are the advancements we need to make to defeat their electronic warfare, to give our guys the best chance of defense? And the reason I'm positive about this is we have incredible airmen, a diverse set of airmen that are thinking about this, not at my level, not at Lieutenant General Nowland's level, but at major lieutenant colonel and captain levels who give us the training advantage. So we have to invest in our training infrastructure to give them the tools to find a solution.
And part of that, you said, is just space, right? Because some of these, the S-500, for example, has a 500-mile radius. Talk to us a little bit about the range changes, but also the mentality changes, because you've said the Air Force has to fundamentally, it's not just, new think, it's completely different thinking.
Right. So if you look at the ranges just alone, Nellis has been a fantastic range, but Nellis is becoming impacted. You've got Nellis, you've got Fallon, you've got the Utah Test and Training Range, the Uter, which is right up there. But that's a busy air corridor. There's a lot of commerce that goes in and out of Las Vegas. So how do we protect those ranges, or how do we create the opportunity to do some of the things that we have to do in those ranges? We do have J Park, which is in Alaska, which is a great range, and that might be the future of where we have to go to. The problem is it costs you more money to go up to Alaska to get there. Nellis is right there in the center of the western half of the United States. We can get to it. So the airspace constraints, encroachment, and then working with the FAA on how we can improve the ability to string ranges together, get bigger, longer distances is going to be important.
One of the force multipliers you talked about is putting together the F-35, combining 5th generation and 4th generation. General Deptula, who is the dean of the Mitchell Institute, has been persistent in his case for a greater number of aircraft a year, 112, 140 a year, as opposed to the 46 that we're buying now. You said that there are enormous force multipliers in terms of the 4th, 5th generation blend. In some of the exercises, the Air Force has said that there's a 25-to-1 exchange ratio in terms of the F-35A versus current generation airplanes. So there are some in the Air Force who say actually that exchange rate is up to 100. Talk to us a little bit about the discrepancy between that public number, but the number that so many airmen talk about, which is exchange rates that are far, far higher, and what that means in terms of your force mix calculations. Is that one reason why you're saying 46 a year might not be that bad given how effective the airplane is proving?
Well, first of all, 46 a year is a great number. It may not be the original buy number. We may want to go a little bit higher, but that's the fives. But that's more than we had, right? We didn't have 46 a year 10 years ago. So we're on the progression of buying more airplanes. But back to my point I made earlier, we fight an away game. So guess what? We're bringing on KC-46. You could have 125 per year, but we've got to buy all the support that goes with it. The one thing that's different about the Air Force, we have a tendency to focus back to Apollo's Chariot on the bright, shiny fighter, but the reality is It's about everything that puts it all together, the command and control assets, the tankers, the airlifters that get you to the fight, the logistics that enables your maintainers to maintain those airplanes in a low observable state. So in our current budget modernization of what we got going on, I think our team is doing a great job of finding the balance of where we could. And thinking differently is part of what we have to do, just because we owe it to the American taxpayer. Like I said, how do we expand the space and think differently about air supremacy?
But what is that 100-to-1 number? Is that an actual number in terms of where did that number come from that folks talk about?
I haven't heard that number, so I've never heard 100-to-1. I heard the 25 to 1, but the most important thing on the kill ratio, really, what makes them I think that's a bad number to focus on. What I'm talking about is his passing of information across the battle space, which makes fourth generation better. So then they use their weapons when they need to, but to a certain extent, what they're doing is enabling fourth generation to maximize their weapon sets, which allows them to stay and be more lethal.
One last question. How are you, when you ask the force for ideas, airmen are going to give you ideas from the lowest level to the highest level. What mechanisms have you set up to vet what are the best ideas, refine them, so that you don't end up chasing a whole bunch of crazy hairs in this process of trying to get that bottom-up innovation? As you said, the football totally changed between 1973 and today, and that's what you're trying to do with air warfare.
Yeah, so the way we're doing it is we've got a thing called the Spark Competition. If you go to AFA Orlando, we're going to have the Spark Competition. As a matter of fact, we're down selecting from 15 down to 6 teams that are going to go up and give presentations on the best ideas. And this competition was Air Force-wide, and I think I saw some of the ideas. They're super exciting ideas of how we're going to do things. So it's that innovation with the airmen and trying to create an innovative culture that we're getting after. AFA Orlando, be there.
Yes, sir, will be. Thanks very much. Happy New Year.
Thank you very much.